Hiya. Has anybody got one of these on the side of their house? Mine's an old Craftsman dinosaur that came original to the house. It's probably 15 or 20 years old at this point, and it never works. It's got a battery that dies every day. It's like septuple A, something strange that I have to order offline. And I'm just get frustrated with this thing. End up using the inside button more than this stupid keypad. And I've decided that's just not going to work for me anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you how I did this, kind of a simplified rundown version, in case you want to just take that and run with it. I use one of these smart outlets that everybody seems to have nowadays that is controlled by, an app, or maybe G_Oogle or A_Lexa, and controlled by your voice. And I just took that and plugged it into a power cord, and from that power cord to a relay that actuates the garage door based on its low voltage controls, just like pressing the wall button that every garage door comes with. And that's the simple version. At the very least, you're going to have to buy a smart switch and a relay. So you're going to come out probably in the range of $30 for this, which is better than any other ready-made solution that I've found. Now, if you'd like to stick around and see the nitty-gritty on how I wired this together, feel free. Or if you're extremely cheap, I could show you a very low-tech way to solve this problem. Not smart, but still kind of smart. If you have a look at my crappy diagram, you'll see how most garage door openers are powered. It's normally 120 volts AC coming from a wall plug, or sometimes they're even hardwired into your house. And now's as good a time as any to tell you not to go poking and prodding around unless you've de-energized your garage door opener, because it'll make you dead. It's also a good time to read your manual to determine if yours is different from mine. Now, on my garage door opener, there's 3 terminals, or where wires are landed, and they're just labeled 1, 2, and 3. So between 1 and 2 is the signal for the door switch that causes the door to open. Between 2 and 3 is the signal for the garage door sensor. It's a safety sensor that makes sure you don't squish yourself when you close the door. And all the door switch does is just completes the circuit or connects a line between 1 and 2. It's a dry contact, so it's not applying any voltage. So that's why we're jumping in, and we're just going to mimic that signal. I'm going to tie it in the same line with the door switch, so the door switch can also operate. And I'm just going to put a device, our relay, in to close that contact between the two and open the door. Now, the squiggly line there on our relay is called the coil, and that's the part of a relay that takes the energizing signal, which is from us, the 120 volt signal, and it makes the relay do its thing on the contact side, which is the other side you see there, and that's the dry contact. There's no voltage applied through that, and that is the side we're going to wire to our 1 and 2 terminals. That's going to give us that activation signal for our garage door opener. So if you catch that, I'm going to have the smart plug send 120 volts AC whenever I press the button on the app into this relay, the coil side, and then the contact side is going to connect to my garage door opener on those terminals. Wiring the wall switch in parallel makes it so I can either activate it using the wall switch or through the smart app, and it looks like this with magical green lines representing the signal going through the system to finally arrive at the garage door opener and open it. Bam! Now, relays come in all shapes and sizes and different ratings for their coil and contact, so you have to make sure and you verify what your relay can do before you try to use it, or you will hurt yourself. Here is all the contact information and coil information for my relay. And right there you can see on the coil side, it can take 24 VAC or 120 VAC, but you have to pick the right wire. And you see right there, it says connect only 1. On the contacts, you can see that it can take up to 277 VAC. And then there's the contact information. What we're connecting to is the common and the normally open. So then whenever this relay is energized, that normally open contact will close, and that gives us our closed signal at our terminals to make it work. One last thing to note is that my relay is in a box, and that allows me to screw it to this 4x4 box to make all the connections. Here you can see the 120 volt coming in, and I've connected to the appropriate wires. I have grounded it to the box on that ground screw back there. And then I have the low voltage wire, doesn't have to be as big, connected down there. And that's going to be a line that goes down to my terminals. I use spade connectors to connect the wall switch and the relay contact wires together and zip those into the terminals. Terminals 1 and 2, like we saw in our diagram. Make sure nothing is touching is very important, is what I'm trying to show here. If you don't have spade connectors, you could just, tie the wires together. And I zip tied everything up there to make sure nothing moved. And I mounted the box with some bolts and washers and screws that I had lying around to make sure nothing is moving, because this is going to be a very vibrational place where it right above the opener here. Putting the cap on there, and that's the finished install there. And if you look up at the top, you can see I only got one freeze frame of this footage here. You can see my garage door power coming in from the one side of the plug and the relay energizing smart switch on the other side. And this is what it happened when I tested it. It energized our relay and it worked as intended. Honestly, I was so stoked that this worked. Is it super smart in that does it tell me notification if my garage door is open or closed? No. But I didn't want that. I wanted full control to be able to look at my garage door, see it open and close, essentially just to replace my old crappy side of the house button thing. So that is a win for me. Now for a low-tech solution to the keypad, I've heard on the internet of this idea where you could take 2 nails, hammer them into a piece of wood or somewhat inconspicuously on the side of your house, connect some wires to them, and then use your ring as the contact to connect the 2 terminals together on your garage door opener and activate it that way. I thought that was a cool idea, so I wanted to test it. So I've got my alligator clippies here onto the nails, and from those go into terminals 1 and 2 on the opener, just like the relay contacts do. And using my ring at great effort to get my hand in the right position, it worked to open the door. Security is another thing to think about. I was pretty happy. You don't want someone to just be able to walk up and open your garage door with a piece of metal, so just think about that. And it works. Pretty simple, pretty effective, and best of all, cheap. Thanks for watching. This is Josh saying, get out there and go do some stuff.